Hi, welcome to the channel. Today's video is titled Andrew Wilson Obliterates This Male Feminist Argument. We're going to check this video together and I love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Let's dive right in.
The only way that message is really disseminated is often through these big content creators. Most of the people come across a red pill from things like Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, this channel. That's how that packet is distributed, and there are prescriptive messages.
How did they come across it?
I don't know. The internet is the internet. The algorithm.
Do you think they made it up?
Do I think who made it up?
That those red pill creators that you're talking about, do you think that they just made all that stuff up?
No, I don't. I think there's too many similar messages for it to be made up.
Yeah, so there's like sources for this stuff, right?
Wherever they're sourcing it from, I'm not sure, but they're disseminating
so like one
it.
such source would be a guy, his name is Rollo Tomasi, the godfather of the red pill. He's going to be pissed that I said that because it's like an ongoing meme, but he calls it a praxeology, right? So if it's praxeological from his perspective, he's saying there's no prescriptions here, right? It's not designed around prescriptors. It's designed around descriptors. So if you're going to criticize the red pill, you should probably start by criticizing the descriptors. But if you wanted to criticize individual content creators for their prescriptions, I think that that's fine, but that's not the red pill. The red pill is a data packet of descriptions which are trying to express and explain interpersonal sexual dynamics between men and women.
I think the gentleman you mentioned, most people haven't heard of. I think most people
have heard of them.
I think most of the people are getting their information from the millions of subscriptions to Fresh and Fit and whatever. And
Fresh and Fit, he goes on often. They have a very close
Myron
relationship.
Gaines, I'm sure, is much more popular than him.
Yeah, well, the thing is like, maybe, but Myron Gaines is not are you saying he's the red pill?
I think he's one of them.
Okay, so what is, let's start with that. What is the red pill?
I consider it content that claims to reveal the truth about women but promotes misogyny and male victimhood.
Okay, so you think that the descriptors do that?
I think the content creators that are prescribing what the red pill is.
So it's about content creators.
Sure.
You just think that, so there's just content creators who you disagree with their message.
The majority of the red pill content creators, I disagree with their message.
Well,
You see this? I disagree with your message. I'm going to label you to be something because that's how the left or liberals relate or think. Because as long as they don't agree with you, label this person to be something. So, again, you're talking about content creators, but you're generalizing it to be the entire red pill or podcasts and stuff. But in your mind, is content creators. So obviously people are allowed to have opinions, right? And sometimes people can share their opinions regardless or be invited on the podcast, and sometimes they might share what they know, which may not necessarily be true, or may be true from their perspective or sharing from their perspective. But rather than you to disagree with what the person is saying, because one person has said it, then you categorically place it to be everybody, and you gotta label the person to be something. Misogyny, right? Misogyny, of course. As long as you are not, you're not saying the thing that appeals to women or pampers, or like, how do I put it, or that you think should not be said. Because again, people will be like, oh, don't say this, it's gonna hurt women's feelings. But again, what happens to people hearing the truth? Because lots of people only cater more about feelings than truth, fact in feelings, right? But people prefer to be lied to than to be told the truth, which doesn't even make sense. But again, I don't agree with you. I'm gonna label you to be something liberal, typical liberal mindset.
okay, but well, what's the majority? Like, how many do you think there are?
The most popular of the bunch. The ones that have the most viewers, subscribers.
Okay, so who are these guys that you're talking about?
Fresh and Fit is a big one. Andrew Tate is another one. And the
Okay.
Whatever podcast is another one.
Fresh, Fit, Tate, and Whatever. So here's an easy one. I guess let's start with Whatever because I'm pretty familiar with the content here. So what is the message that's being put out there?
There's a lot of misogynistic messages that come out of this podcast, and I
Well,
have
let's start with
several
what is
lists.
misogyny?
Misogyny is the hatred or dislike of women, the active dislike of women.
Plural women.
Yeah, correct. The entire gender.
So not the active dislike of a woman.
No, not typically.
So it's just women.
Yeah.
Okay. So misogyny is the active hatred or dislike of women.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
And Fresh and Fit is another big
let's,
culprit of that.
let's start with whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is the misogyny or the dislike of women, which is promoted on this channel?
It's presented as a dating podcast, but it's really not. The topics that typically come up on
Let's
this
start
podcast.
with that. What makes it not a dating podcast?
I'm about to go into that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
A dating podcast should not discuss whether or not women should be submissive, whether women should vote. On Sunday's show, you ask women how many pumps after they tell you to stop is it grape. That's not a dating podcast. That's one of the craziest questions I've ever heard. You basically say divorce hurts men, marriage is pointless. I don't know how that's helping your audience. I don't know how military conscription has anything to do with a dating podcast. I don't know how, guests being shown a submissive ex-girlfriend and saying, would you bow to your husband? Would you bow to your husband? That's not a dating podcast. That is promoting hatred of women and misogyny as well. Female guests are pressured to reveal their body count and then mocked. If they don't reveal, they're interrogated until they reveal. Women with OnlyFans are moralized and told to quit. Male promiscuity is excused and celebrated. Women are asked about their peak looks, age, and questioned incessantly. Segments like Man, Bear versus Woods mock women's very real fears about male violence, even though statistical realities are ignored and dismissed as irrational. The super chat roast. The guests love to shit on these women every chance they get. And on this show, feminism and women are blamed for most of men's problems.
Wow. Wow. Before Andrew would continue with this, let me just ask because I'm curious to know. So when people go on dates, what do people ask or what do people say? Because I'm really curious to know because it seems like people have this fantasized idea that if you're going out on the date with somebody is to go and eat food. Only food. You're not gonna ask the questions that matters because dating is supposed to be getting to know the person before being in a relationship, right? Or before taking it further to relationship, right? It's not just food, right? How this person thinks, or how is this person gonna handle or reflect, or in times of in difficult situations, how is this person gonna react? What are your views about things? How do you think critically? Can you think freely for yourself? Are you codependent on your partner? Are you for partnership? Or do you want to be in a relationship and they be independent? Or you think like, or what are your views on relationship, marriage wise? What do you think about the us being together? Do you have long term or do you see us being together long term? Long term, right? I thought that's how dating is supposed to be. Those are the stuff people are supposed to ask, not to go to or go on a date and you what is your favorite food, what is your favorite color, what is your favorite hobby, did you eat today, did you eat are you going to eat tomorrow, do you have the favorite color of cloth you're going to wear to the office tomorrow? Those are the kind of questions people should be asking, or like really getting to know this person outside surface level. Because what is he saying? Because again, when you go on dating podcast, stuff like this needs to be asked because you want to know, understand people's viewpoint on things. Reasoning. Oko, reasoning. That's how it's supposed to be, right? It's not like when you go on this podcast, and I don't think they've ever forced anybody on this podcast to say things they don't want to say. Have they? But again, hey, is men hating women misogynistic? It makes no sense. Again, we need strong men in the society, not weak men, because this type of a man is not a perfect example of the kind of man we need in the society. not men like this. We need strong men. And I don't think women want a weak man. Bam. Example. Oko oko.
Can I have a? Do you have a copy of that? I'd like to see it. The thing. Because you just shotgunned a bunch of points, and Andrew, might you want
Yeah, I
to
would
go
You can
like
have
to-
it.
Yeah,
one
yeah.
by one?
I also have peer-reviewed studies if you want those too.
Yeah, if you have any, especially if they have a meta-analysis, I'd like to see them.
And just to be, before you give your response, Andrew, my understanding here for the debate was primarily going to be about feminism, not specific criticisms of the.
Well, I mean,
whatever
this is,
podcast,
Prompts
but-
were about manosphere and red pill.
yeah, so this is, I'm actually fine with this, right? So, why it's not really a dating podcast, whether women should be submissive, why, I don't understand. Why would that not be relational to dating?
What does submission have to do with dating?
Well, because dating is especially on a dating show, you would be significantly talking about people's preferences when it came to the social experiences they're having with the opposite sex.
You're not talking about your preferences. You're talking about their preferences. Because when you talk
Both.
about submission, you're talking about from your worldview, women should be submissive.
Okay, but what, from their worldview, they could also have maybe a counter to that why they shouldn't, or also a lot of them say yes they should. So the idea here for submission, especially, would be I don't see how that's not dating related.
I don't know how submission comes up on any sort of date. I don't know if you've ever been on a date in the
Well, if
last
you're
20
asking,
years.
so
but
okay, so if I ask you, what type of woman do you want? And you go through the traits and you say, I'd also like a submissive woman. Does that make sense to say as a trait?
Sure, I don't know many people that would just offer that up as one of the first things they want in a woman, but maybe those are the people you hang out
who
with.
said it's the first? If you're, if I'm
You just
asking,
said if you ask
if I'm
somebody.
asking, what's your dynamic, and one of the answers is a submissive woman.
Yeah.
That comes up all the time for men in dating.
Okay. In your circles, perhaps.
I mean, no, just in what it. Well, how many dating podcast sample sizes do you have here?
I'm on a dating podcast. I made one. I listen to a lot of your shows. I listen to a lot of everything
so
that's out there.
I don't understand any of the dating podcasts that come up when you ask men
Yeah.
their preference. They've never once says I would prefer to have a woman who's more submissive.
The topic of submission only comes up on Red Pill podcasts.
No, it doesn't only come up on
Where
Red
else does
Pill
it come up?
podcasts. It's been on Dr. Phil. It's been everywhere.
Dr. Phil talks about submission every
of
episode. Every
course.
episode?
I didn't say every episode.
Well, that's what
He's
we're
not
talking
doing
about
a dating. Is he doing a dating podcast
Then
every
don't mention
episode?
Dr. Phil as a dating
Is
show
he
then.
doing?
Don't mention
You
Dr. Phil as
asked
a
where
dating
else
show.
it's
That's
mentioned.
not a dating show.
You asked where else it's
Dr. Phil
mentioned.
as a dating show. That is not a dating
Yeah,
show.
so in any case, any of the dating podcasts that I've seen, it's a very common answer to say that they want to
Name
submissive
another
woman.
dating podcast.
And here's the other thing to dive into this.
Name another dating
Here's
podcast.
the other thing
though.
to dive into this.
Well, you got to name another dating podcast.
Okay, Fresh
besides
and
Dr.
Fit
Phil.
happens there all the
Red
time.
Pill content. Exactly as I
well,
said.
Okay, so when you're talking about a dating podcast,
Mm-hmm.
what do you mean by that?
Something a little less, I don't know, misogynistic, perhaps.
What does that mean, though?
I've already explained it to you and defined it.
If any man has a dating podcast, is it Red Pill or
I have a dating
misogynistic?
podcast and it's not misogynistic.
I see. And let me ask you a question. What kind of questions do you ask on your dating podcast?
I ask them what are their priorities in a man. I ask them, do you have advice for men in
And
dating?
how many men have you had on?
Zero. It's called Women on Men.
Oh, I see. So
Oh.
you're a misandrist?
Absolutely not.
Well, I don't understand. Why don't you want a man's opinion?
Because I want to.
So he's not a misandrist, but the other podcasts are misogynist, right? Or they are misogynistic. So you've never invited or you don't invite men on your podcast because guess what? You also feed into the women's perspective, right? But guess what? You don't want to invite men to your podcast. Brother, look in the mirror. Again, this is not the type of man we need in the society. We don't need weak men in the society. We need strong, able men. Because tell me, if you're going out on a date and um potentially the man asks you or the both of you start asking yourself what are your views or what how do you view relationship and stuff, obviously the idea of being a provider, submissive, or submission would come into the topic. So how is that not inclusive in dating topics? I'm trying to understand because it's just painting this idea that many people don't understand the dynamics of dating or being going on a date with somebody because people just view dates to be go to eat food or go and watch movies. and then laugh, and then go back home, because potentially people don't go on. It seems like people don't go on dates to get to know each other. People go on dates to varieties of restaurants to look at the cutest restaurant, and then look all cute, all dressed up and stuff. Because it's not making sense to me how you're telling me that some certain topics aren't dating topics worthy, if that makes sense. I'm trying to understand it here. Because how do you go on a date with somebody that you don't want to, and you don't want to get to know the person? You're going on a date just to eat. Or you think that dating podcasts should not ask some certain question, because lots of people have actually lost the core essence of what dating is supposed to be, or dating dynamics is supposed to be. Wow. Wow. Brother, you're not misandrist. But somebody is
So you're a misandrist?
Absolutely not.
Well, I don't understand. Why don't you want a man's opinion?
Because I want to ask women specifically.
Oh.
That has nothing. Misandry involves hate, and I don't hate men.
Oh, okay, I got
Seriously?
it. So you only have on women,
Correct.
and you don't ask them when you ask them about preferences.
Yeah.
Right. Do they say that they want things like assertive men?
No.
Do they say that they want less assertive men?
I give them a list of 10 traits and say rank these between your top 3 and your bottom 3.
Okay, so you're giving them the answers,
I'm not giving them the answers. They take a lot of time to think about it.
but you just said you gave them 10 traits.
Yeah, that's not the answers. Those are options.
Yeah, that's answers that are options you can choose from. So multiple choice.
That's not answers.
Yes, it's answers.
Okay, they're answers, Andrew.
Yeah,
If that
you
makes
gave them
happy.
10 ansers and say, choose from
And
these.
then they sort them. Yeah, but that doesn't mean
Yes,
that's their
so
answers.
you're making them choose from answers that you give them.
Okay,
So you're
okay.
literally feeding them their answers,
Yeah,
and
I'm feeding them
then
their
they choose
answers.
them.
Yep. And they don't come and say, "Man, I wish you would have had this on
Well,
the
how
list." because
come?
it
How,
covers
why
it.
is it then? Well, how long have you been doing it?
Can we get back to misogynistic podcast?
If it is the case,
Can
that,
we get back to
and we are,
misogynistic
and if
podcast?
it
No,
is
we're
the
not.
case that it is your criticism,
Can we get back to misogynistic?
If you're gonna have
podcast?
criticisms for whatever, I'm gonna have criticisms for your podcast.
You haven't even listened to it, so don't
Bro,
talk about it.
Do I need to?
Pull it up and
I
listen
can
to
listen
it.
to it from you.
Go ahead, pull it up on YouTube.
I can listen to it.
Go
from
ahead
you.
and pull it up on YouTube. You have not watched my podcast,
Okay,
so
did
don't
you-
sit here. We're not
did
going to
you-
critique my
did-
podcast.
why not?
Because you haven't even watched it.
Let's watch it.
Go ahead, pull it up.
So if we pull
we
up
got
your
45
podcast right
minutes.
now, I can take a
45
look?
minutes. 45 minutes. Put on 2 times
Yeah.
speed, and then we can critique my podcast.
Yeah.
But until then, tell me about another
Yeah.
non-misogynistic red pill podcast.
Well, I don't think any of those are misogynistic podcasts.
Yeah, of course not.
You got to demonstrate that they actually hate these women.
By their actions, by the things, everything that's happening right there.
Yeah. So let's go through some more of these.
When Myron Gaines has a college table that says women deserve less, you don't think that's a little misogynistic?
Is that during his podcast?
He is one of the red pill content creators that we're talking
I had
about.
to be a podcast.
Dude,
I
act
thought
like
I had to be a podcast.
can you
now
act
it
like an
doesn't
adult?
have to be a podcast.
Can you act like an adult? That is the most childish thing
How
I've
is
ever
it?
seen in my whole
That's
life.
you put you gave me the criteria.
The
bro.
criteria is the content creators,
Oh, it's the
including Myron
content.
Gaines. Yes,
Got it.
I've always said
Got
that.
it. So
nothing's changed
so
in my
as
statement.
we're talking about dating podcasts, or
Correct.
the idea of dating,
Correct.
Is it also possible there's just not that many?
Yeah, there's not a lot of red pill podcasts. The
No,
main
no,
ones,
just dating podcasts.
There's a ton of dating podcasts.
Okay, name some.
Mine.
Name some other ones.
There's a guy named Man We're in Trouble. There's Evie Edit. There's
Evie Edit's a dating podcast.
Yeah, she talks about dating and men and women.
Is it a dating podcast though?
Yes.
So they have.
This isn't a dating podcast.
So hang on. So they have.
This isn't a dating podcast.
So on Evie Edit, they have. Every single time they come on, they have multitudes of people on with them, and all they talk
I didn't
about
necessarily say they have guests. I'm not talking about the format. I'm saying that's what the content that comes up is men and women, and this is not a dating podcast that we're currently
So
on.
you're just talking about, for you, a dating podcast, just anybody who's talking about dating.
This is not a dating podcast that we're currently on.
Well, prove it.
I just did.
How? Let's go through more.
You want me to read them? So here, why don't we do the first one? Whether women should be submissive. I don't
understand how
would that
again.
not
How would that
relate-
not be? Yeah, actually,
relate
how
to-
would that not be a decent question to ask for dating? I don't get
Do
it.
you ask that on your first dates?
What if a woman would be submissive?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly, because it's not a dating question.
Why would that? Wait, hang on. Let's back up. Let's assume for a second that anything that I would ask a woman on the first date isn't something you would ask a woman on the first date. What does that prove?
I'm saying the things you guys do. How, do you think you're going to look
can you
better in 10
answer-
years? Do you think you're
answer
going to
my
look better in
question?
10 years? Is that something you asked on the
Answer
date?
my question.
What's your body count?
Can
Do you ask that
answer-
on the first
can
date?
Can you answer my
Do you
question?
ask what's a body count on the first date?
Before you start shotgunning.
Yeah, you have different questions.
Before you start
have different
shotgunning questions.
You have different questions.
I'll never answer one of yours if you never answer one of mine.
Go ahead, Andrew.
So here we go again. What does it actually prove? What does it prove that if I asked a whole sequence of different questions from you on my first date, what does that prove?
Yeah, you're not asking these questions on your first
Can you
date.
answer my question?
I just did.
What does it prove?
It proves that you're not asking these questions
So
on
it
your
doesn't
first
prove
date.
anything?
It does prove it.
What does it prove?
That you're not asking these kinds of questions
what
on
is
your
it-
first date.
So what is that proving outside of that?
It proves that these are more
Does
misogynistic
it also
questions.
hang on? Does it also prove that I don't ask any other questions other people would ask that you're not asking here?
I have no idea if it proves that
Like
or
it's
not.
just so stupid, dude. It proves
Yeah,
nothing.
okay.
What does it prove?
What do those questions prove?
Nothing. They don't prove anything.
Okay. The only
Ladies, again, ladies, advice for you. This type of a man is not the type of man we need in the society at all. We need strong men that are capable, that are not in their feelings all the time. I would think, because look at this one. For example, his own podcast is a dating podcast, but you invite only women to the podcast. You're not a misandrist. But other podcasts that invites same women as you do are misogynistic, right? Because they ask the questions, the responsible question that you are not confident or able to ask. Why do I say that? Because, for example, you're asking somebody question, but you've already provided out of these 10, choose one. You've already done the thinking for me. Now, how am I supposed to think again? So potentially, in your mind, you don't see that you're practically telling these women that you invite on your podcast that, baby girls, you cannot think freely for yourself. So let me help you. But you're not a misandrist, right? Because if you've already provided the answer, because that's not how relationship works. Nobody is gonna go into a relationship with somebody potentially where they be like, oh, so we're just gonna go on a date, and then I'm gonna be the one to continuously do all the talking, as that's the guy is gonna do all the talking, and then you as a woman, you don't need to answer any question, because I mean, you're already here. The fact that you're here for the date just means that you're ready. So now, me as a guy, you're only coming to scan me to know if I'm a potential fit. If now you be the girl going on a relationship with that guy, would you go on the second date with the person? Of course not, because guy, why are you the only person talking? And then you are providing me list of things. What? 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 I know people have unrealistic expectations in dating, but I did not know that it was this extent. Like it's like this, because you say what? What? Nah. The fact that you don't agree with somebody's opinion doesn't make the person a misogynist, right? But again, typical liberals, they always want to, or typical leftist mindset, they always want to label something they don't like. Oh, don't critique my own podcast. You don't listen to it. Brother, you do even need somebody to listen, because you already said it. So when you say that thing, you're potentially saying that, oh, the potential women that you're scouting for, or the potential people that you want, like potential people that you invite on your podcast, they can't think critically for themselves. Because again, why are you providing me with all of the answers, and then you're telling me to choose from there, and you're saying that you give me time to think? How am I supposed to think if you give me choose from 1 to 10? I'll just look at it like, 5 is not bad though. What if I pick 6, 7, uncle? But 9, 9 looks like a good one. Oh. Let me just go with the one that is just like on a surface level. Am I thinking? Of course, I'm not thinking. I'm guessing. I'm not thinking. That is not the type of person you want to be in a relationship with, because you want to be in a relationship with somebody who can think freely for themselves, who can handle situations, difficult situations. Because guess what? Life is not all roses. Even relationship is not all about roses, because there are times where you'll be faced with difficult situations and you need somebody to act on. If the man is not there, the woman too can take up some responsibilities. That's what relationship is supposed to be: mutuality, not individual. But again, guess what? People have this misconceptualized idea of relationship where it's supposed to be one sided. everything should be provided for you, so you just don't work for nothing. Relationship takes work, especially if you're going on a date. Two people, guess what? If the other person is not interested or did not come for the date, would there be dating? Of course not. So two people have to come to agreement on a date before they agree to be in a relationship. That's how it works. And some questions should be asked prior to relationship, before the relationship commences. That's how it's supposed to be. But again, we need weak men. We don't need weak men. Sorry, we don't need weak men in the society. We need strong men. That's how you know. Because again, Bible said it. Man or husband, love thy wife as Christ loved the church. Because guess what? The man is what? The head. The woman is what? To support. Wives, support or submit to your husband. Even Bible to talk am. And Bible that created woman from man, or God that created woman from man, it did not make mistake. But again, you want to come and stop it. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.